Good morning and welcome to my outdoor studio slash front yard sanctuary. Today I'm actually doing a video. It's going to be a quick look video of an engine that I've never had before in this form, and I thought I'd do it using my new camera also, which is a Canon EOS M50. So without any further delay, let me show you what we're going to be looking at today. This is what I have for you today. It's a very early Saito FA40 Mark III engine, and I'm going to get this table set up and then we're going to take a closer look at the contents of this box. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, so this is an engine that best I can come up with on a timeline is that this came out in about 1983, and this was the time period that you would see these dark blue boxes with the yellow writing, yellow and white writing for single cylinder engines. And it's interesting here because this is kind of more orange, and on this side it's quite yellow looking, so that's interesting. And this is a Mark III version. This is not the original Saito FA40. The original FA40 was an open rocker style engine. That is not what this is. So first let me take this engine out and set it aside, and we'll look at the contents of the box first. So it came with an original Saito P2 glow plug, which is period correct. I can't recall if these engines actually came with this, like this, or if it was installed in the engine. But this version I got from eBay, this was in the bag or in the box. We've got a small little piece of paper here that says supplement of the FA40 Mark III, and it doesn't really say much of anything useful there. We have the standard instruction sheet for these Saito engines. FA40 original decals to put on your airplane. So here is a FA40, this is for a Mark II engine. I'm sure it didn't change much. AAC 4-stroke cycle engine. And typical instructions written in English and Japanese, and then I think this piece of paper is the breakdown in English. So that is the paperwork that came with this engine. And then there's this accessory bag that lists all the things in it, to include the choke mechanism, a screwdriver, the exhaust stub, some tools. This is exactly the type of thing you want to see when you're buying a vintage engine from Saito. You want to see the sealed bag with all the accessories that come with it. So those things are all well and good. Now let's take a closer look at this engine. Now this is new in box, it's never been run. I haven't decided if I'm going to run it yet or not. But here it is, FA40. Now one of the things that attracted me to this, and by the way I bought this back in early December of 2020 when I was kind of on a thing where I was looking to buy some engines again. I saw this and I was like, this is one I don't think I've ever seen or had before. I actually have had an FA40 like this before, but it wasn't mine, I don't believe. But the thing that really attracted me to this was this right here. So you can see here it says FA40, but the 40 is on like a little piece of metal placard that's just attached to the case. Now I've seen this in the past before, and what this tells me is that this crankcase was actually either, it wasn't it was probably cast with 45, maybe 50 on it, and it was an overstock or just a crankcase that needed to be used up for a series of 40 size engines. So they just made a little placard, put it on the case, and then now the head is for a 40 because of the size of the sleeve, the piston, and all that's installed. But the crankcase is universal to a 45 and a 50, and of course the 40 also. So this is just a spectacular example of early Saito engineering. It's still, this is another thing that tells you the vintage of the engine. If you see cross point screws on the top of the rocker covers, you know it's a really an early 80s vintage engine. It still has that carburetor, the old style carburetor that has the 90-degree opening, and the throttle arm here with, here's your low speed adjustment, it's a screw. The thing I don't care for these carbs, I mean they work exceptionally well, but it's not drilled for a throttle stop. So being as that this comes down and it's got this cover here and it's you can't see the barrel, you really can't tell where your lowest idle point should be. So you just have to play with it with the throttle, the servo trim, or I have to just be careful with it on the stand, because otherwise you're going to kill the engine because you just really can't see. But I mean, hopefully you can see inside here and see how pristine that exhaust valve is. This has never seen a drop of fuel, and I'm really kind of itching to put this on the stand and run it, but I'm also kind of torn about whether I actually want to do it or not. So this has been a short, quick look video of an early, what I believe to be about a 1982-83 vintage series Saito FA40 engine. Hopefully, if I decide to run it, you'll actually see it on the bench someday.